About 5 years ago, I joined a stock music site. I wrote one track, this track, and it was rejected. Why was it rejected? Well, this week I thought I'd challenge myself to try again and hope not to be rejected. I've been doing some research, so a lot of the advice that you get is to start with writing some happy, upbeat music, except then you're more likely to get sales. That sounds like a good idea. I'm not really going in there with a plan of writing something in a particular style, which is probably a bad idea, to be fair. Yep, that sounds like a bad idea to me. I just want to write something and have fun and make some music. Okay. Fair enough. I'm just going to have a little noodle around and see if I can come up with anything. The idea was to come up with something that's basically really simple and to work on making an arrangement that really works. That guitar looks like a really nice guitar to play, you know? This guitar is insanely hard to play and it always sounds out of tune even when it's in tune. When playing around with a few things, an idea started to take shape and I wanted to work on the melody at the same time as the chords and the chord progression, so I knew that the parts would definitely fit and work really well together. So I used my looper pedal to do this. This chord progression has a melody inbuilt with that sus4 idea, so there's this within the chord progression. So the melody that I've come up with to start the piece off with is this. So after, when I go down to this, I'd like to hit this D note because I'm on a D minor chord. I found that I really like the idea of walking up a scale idea. Now I know that I'm then going to this minor 4 chord. If I highlight that chord change within the melody, then it'll really sound quite nice. Now I think that sounds pretty good. I wouldn't change that. You know what, I'm changing that first melody. I think that'll work better. Okay, I'll admit, that does work better. I wanted there to be some back and forth, and I really wanted the chords and the melody to influence each other. So I'd write the melody, and then I would think about how I could incorporate that into the chord progression, and then I'd go back and forth like this and change things in the chords and the melody so they really would fit together, so I'd adapt things as I went. Now obviously, because we're now starting the cycle, starting the progression again, I know that I can go back to this melody. So I'm thinking about maybe trying to do a variation of that melody and maybe do it backwards. And this is a clear example of how I was adapting things when I was writing this, so I recorded the loop again with this variation. That's the melody, pretty much sorted. I wanted this track to have 2 sections, so an A section and a B section, and I wanted the structure to be an A, B, back to A. I'm just glad I didn't decide to make an A, B, B, A structure. People would think I'm in C, but obviously because I've got a cap on, I'm actually in F. For the B section, I need to have like a bit of a change, so I might go to the minor, so D minor. Changing to the minor is always a good idea. Everything was pretty simple, so there was no problem recording it at all. Run into a problem. We all have problems. It's how you deal with these problems. And I want to share with you when I have a problem. I've always had problems with timing. I've really worked on this, and I still really do work on this. But when recording, the problem always comes back to some extent. So what I thought is, I actually really like the sound of the acoustic guitars and how it's all coming together. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to try and fix this in post. This didn't work. I tried manually placing all of the kick drum hits for my drum part so they matched the acoustic guitar. Now if I do layer up like a string section, a bass guitar, whatever, I'm going to have to go through and manually change all of those. And I didn't have time to do that over and over again. So I re-recorded the guitars. Now that's done, it's time to crack on with working on the rest of the track. I've done the electric guitars in the melody line, and I've written and recorded a melody line for the B section as well. I have added a bass guitar and a drum part as well, very simple part. There's a nice sounding, I mean a simple but a nice sounding bluesy lick in the middle of this section. So, Dave from the past, would you mind telling us what's going on with that? So we're in the key of F major, so I'm using an F major scale. And then when I come to this minor 4 chord, I'm borrowing the 4 chord from the parallel minor key. So during that chord change, I've actually played a blues lick in F minor. So I've changed scale just for that one chord. And back to F major. When I submit this to the stock library, I want to make some versions that go in the pack that don't have the lead guitars and the melody lines in. But I still wanted to add something to this B section to make it bigger. What about adding a string section? Now, I'd never made a string arrangement before. I won't bore you with the full details of every single thing that I added for this string section. There's a cello line in the bass end just playing the roots of the chords. There's a violin part and another cello part playing the melody, like an ostinato style melody. Then I have some violins and some violas playing the chord tones, which just makes the string section for me. I've submitted it to AudioJungle and it can take up to 5 days for it to be reviewed, so fingers crossed. I just logged into my AudioJungle account and it's been rejected. Please add a bit more separation between each version of the preview file. A second or two silence should be suffice. Also, your current title is not formatted properly. Please remove the 55 BPM from your title. And please read this article, blah, blah, blah. So, it looks like it's more of just a formatting problem, so I'm going to redo that and submit it again. It was a lot of fun making it, so if you want to check out the track in full, then click the link in the description box below this video. And whilst I was waiting for this one to be reviewed, I also submitted a rock track that I wrote and recorded years ago. And this one has been accepted. So check that one out from the link in the description box. It's quite heavy. Now come on guys, subscribe to the channel. I've got some pretty cool videos on the way and I'm thinking about making some more of these challenge style videos because I've really had a lot of fun making this one. So I'm going to see you in this video here. It's a good one.